What is going on, guys? In this video, I'm going to be breaking down the Singleback dice slot formation out of the Denver Broncos playbook. Now, this formation is phenomenal. It is a very, very dominant formation, and a lot of people honestly have slept on it throughout the year so far. There's really four really good passing plays to go along with a misdirection where it's actually pretty good in its own right because the receivers actually block. They don't go out on their routes, as you guys can see. So just for instance, you look at the halfback toss crack, you see how the receivers on the left are actually running little go patterns. The misdirection, they actually go ahead and block. So it's actually really unique. It's very good too. So I'm not going to get into that. You guys know misdirections work. We've broken it down multiple times. What I am going to focus on is the dominant pass plays. So the plays we're going to use the play PA corner post, play middle slants, we're going to use the play wide receiver fade, and the play slot cross. Now all of these are pretty unique, and they have main reads that you want to go to. We're going to start out with PA corner post. This is a very situational play. It is one of those plays that can really dominate your opponent if they are in a lot of cover 3 or a cover 4. So right here you see standard cover 3. Now the only hot route you want to make is you want to flat route the slot receiver. And you really only have one read on this play, and that's going to be hike, throw the ball to X as soon as he makes his break to the outside. So you'll see right here, he makes his break, throw a nice little bullet pass, pick up huge gain. Now, that can be ran to both sides. It's not, just works on the left, just works on the right. It works to both sides of the field. The only way to really counter this is to be in either a cover 2 or a man look. Occasionally a cover 4 press will play that, but as long as they're not pressing, it doesn't really matter what they're in as long as it's not man coverage. So go ahead, we'll do the same thing here. As you see, nice little completion, pick up 25 plus yards. So that's really the only read on that play, though. If they pass commit, if they have purples, if they have other things, this crossing route will technically beat man coverage. It is not dominant. It is not 100% consistent. So that would be your secondary read, I would say. So as you see here, I audibled to a cover 0 and got screamed at. So we'll try it one more time. Go to a 2-man under look. So as you'll see, he will get open. It's not 100% consistent. You got to have a decent tight end there. But that's the secondary read, I would say. That's really the only two reads that you really even want to look at. If you have somebody fast here, maybe the deep lob or somebody tall there could be a face catch option. But primarily, the only time you really want to run this play is if you're expecting a cover 3 or a cover 4 and they are not pressing. If they are pressing, that's where we're going to get into our other parts of our scheme. Now the audibles are going to be middle slant, the misdirection that I talked about, wide receiver fade, and slot cross. Now wide receiver fade, slot cross, and middle slants, they all have man beaters. Slot cross, for instance, your primary read is going to be the slot guy over here on the middle. And then this play, and the main reason I run it, is this is the ultimate short yardage situation because this tight end delay route never blocks. So he just simply goes into the flats. It's always there for a pickup of 2 yards unless it's manually played. So the only hot route we make on the play slot cross, as you guys see here, this is stock. We will just drag route the outside guy, and that's our. What we really like to do when running this play is we like to wheel the running back as well and then motion him to the left. So this is going to be against a standard 2-man under. So you'll see that the slot's going to get open. That's the PA end around route, always open for the most part. They have to manually play that. The drag route always gets open. You just want to throw a bullet, no pass lead here. But the other thing is, look at this running back. The wheel route, for whatever reason, when you motion it to this trip side, just gets naked. And it's a very dominant read. I've scored multiple touchdowns on this play on that wheel route, so it's definitely something to look into. If you need a big play, your opponent's running a lot of two-man under, this is definitely a setup that I would go to. So say you don't want to do that, or you don't want to motion them out. Say they're in, we'll stick with two-man under for now. So you can simply just drag the guy, and I showed you have the crossing route. You also have the drag route with no pass lead, and that's going to cut right upfield, be a nice gain. And then, as you see here, you can always roll out and throw to this tight end and pick up decent yards. That guy, Connor Barwin, is manned up on him. As you can see, it doesn't matter because of the angle that he takes. He's always going to catch the ball. He'll cut up field. It's always there for a short little gain of 2-3 yards. That is my go-to short yardage play. So slot cross is a must-to-have in your audibles. And then we're going to move on to, well, before we do that, I'll show you versus zone. So versus a standard zone, you're going to do the same little concept. You can always roll out, hit the running back, or not the running back, excuse me, the tight end, or you have the high-low read by the crossers. So you either have Y going across deep, you have X coming across short, or you have the tight end that is pretty much always open. So you're going to roll out just a split second, throw to the tight end, pick up R, 3-4 yards. Like I said, it doesn't matter what your opponent's doing. If he's not manually playing that route is going to be open. Go to a cover 2. So as you see here, you can still throw it versus cover 2, pick up 3-4 yards. It's a very sneaky route that most people don't even know is in the game. The fact that you then have the PA end around route, you also have the drag route from the outside guy that makes it pretty much where you can't blitz this play. And it's a dominant little passing play. Like, I've ran this the entire game before. There's the deep crossing route. I mean, as long as you roll out of the pocket, you got that crossing route because the zone's pulled down. And that's it. Works versus cover 2, cover 3, man, doesn't matter. The key, I guess, in the reads, I would say, initially you want to always look for the tight end coming out of the just hike, roll out slightly, hit the tight end. And then you have the 2 crossing routes from left to right. And don't sleep on the running back route either, because a lot of times you'll see your opponent, they'll do something to where they'll man up like they'll do some goofy little adjustment like this, and that's just going to leave that running back open. So pretty much that's one of those routes, it's not the greatest, but it definitely can be useful, especially as your opponent starts to make adjustments to the scheme. So next play is going to be middle slants. Now, middle slants is very easy. The setup is you just want to streak the tight end, motion the B receiver in, and then this is another little glitchy blue route, this time by the running back. And the fact, as I go to instant replay here, the fact that you have this deep post over here from left to right, that flat zone's always going to drop back to him, leaving this running back to pick a small, 3-4 yard gain with the potential for more. So I'm going to show that one more time. And we'll go ahead, as you see, nice little short yardage that if they are in zone, it is always going to be there. So now they can't really run zone because you're able to attack both sides of the field on short routes that are never going to be covered. And And then you get into the deep crosses and stuff like that. So, for instance, cover 3. Not only do you have the deep post right there, it's pretty much always going to be open unless it's manually played. But then you also have the underneath motion slant that, as you guys are aware, is pretty much always open and has been for years. So you're attacking all areas of the field with this one play. The one thing not to really sleep on is the ability to roll out of the pocket a little bit and hit the tight end on the streak with just a bullet pass to the outside. That works very well versus almost all zones, especially cover 4. And then, say they mainly, they over pursue that, you also have the slot receiver that's running a slant going from left to right. So it's very difficult to stop this one play. The one thing that you really have to key on is you have to guard the running back, and then you also have to guard this deep post. Then, obviously, the motion slant is going to pretty much beat everything as well. I made a bad read right there and just threw it into coverage. I needed to wait a split second. I'll show it again. I was in the right play. We'll just hike the ball. So you'll see that post is going to get open. Sometimes you just got to wait till he clears the zone. As I mentioned, the flat zone is going to drop back with that route. That's also why the running back is always going to be open. So moving on to the next play is wide receiver fade. Now this play is another specialty play, I would say. Ideally, the setup you want to do is you want to slant the tight end. Now this gives you the high-low read between the tight end coming across on the slant and also the post that's coming across the deep middle of the field. Now the reason this play is fantastic is because not only do both of those inside routes kill man coverage, but this outside guy is on that unbumpable fade that will just torch his guy. So we're going to audible to like a 2-man under. We're going to mimic them not having safety help over top so you guys can see. And we'll hike the ball. Well, alright, so there we go. We'll hike the ball. So you have the post, which is always going to be his man. That's man coverage. Then you'll have the tight end going across on his slant. Audible to, this is just a cover 0 blitz right here. But there is that deep ball that I was talking about. You'll see that, it doesn't matter who the corner is. It could be Sherman, Pat Pete. It just doesn't matter. You don't even have to have a fast guy out there. It's just, it beats the guy off the line. They stutter for a second, and you have 3+ yards for the easy deep lob. And now I'll show the tight end route again. Just simple stuff. Tight ends tend to always beat their guy on the slant. So as you see here, great throw by Andrew Luck, but tight end's wide open. The other thing not to sleep on is when you audible to this play, it's the same exact setup, but if your opponent is in a zone, like a cover 3 or so, you can still, if you get out of the pocket a little bit, you can throw the little out route, and that's going to be open versus a cover 3, a cover 4, even cover 2s, as long as they're not a cover 2 sink. And that's a very, very nice little read that most people are not expecting. So the only downside is you really have to get out of the pocket to make that work. As you see right there, that was a tight throw, but it was open. It's very rarely going to be that tight in a game. We'll go ahead and show you again. So roll out, throw the out route. Very easy throw versus zone. So pretty much with this scheme, the thing that I love to do, as you guys are aware by now, is we like to have routes to all of our options. So in the play middle slants, the primary read is going to be this post. Then you'll also have, as a secondary read, the motion slant and the running back out of the backfield. On wide receiver fade, it's really designated to be a man killer, especially a man press killer. But even if they're in zone, you still have the out route. You still have the tight end coming across the middle. The deep post will get open if you roll out to the right. It's a nice all around play. I wouldn't necessarily say all of the routes are, read one, read two. The way that I read this is pretty much dependent on what I think they're in. If I think they're in a man press with no safety help over top, obviously my main read is going to be the fade route by the B receiver. If I think they're in a cover three, then I'm going to look to roll out and hit the X receiver on the out route. And if for whatever reason I guess wrong and they are in something different, then you have the high-low read between the tight end and the wide receiver. That's a concept that's going to be in Madden 16. It's in every Madden. It's a real-life concept. Pretty much you're forcing your opponent's hand. You can't guard deep and shallow at the same time, especially not in zone. So nice play, nice overall play. And then, as I mentioned, the play slot cross, which is borderline glitchy with the fact that the tight end just doesn't get guarded. I mean, it's a absolute money play on 3rd and short, 4th and short. I'm in a sim league, kind of borderline sim league, where you have to punt the ball on 4th down. So if I ever get into a 3rd and 2 situation, this is definitely a play that I go to a lot. And then, not to mention, you got the PA end around route in the slot. It's obviously overpowered. Drag routes from the outside receivers are overpowered. So pretty much you're attacking everything. The one thing to just remember is on the play slot cross, that wheel route that you motion out to the left. If they are in man coverage, I'll audible to a 2-man under look again right here. You will see that guy just gets torched. So even in a 2-man under, with safety help over top, it doesn't matter. That's a dominant route. And that was against Mikael Kendricks, who's got 90 speed, I think. He's high 80s, 90 speed, something like that. And you can really do that out of any play. So we'll do the same thing here. Now, this is not a setup I necessarily recommend out of this play. I just wanted to show that it will work out of pretty much everything. So very nice little thing. You're attacking that. You're attacking the sidelines. You're attacking the middle of the field. Overall, this is one of the most slept-on formations in the Denver playbook, and it is definitely a must-add to your scheme. So with that being said, I hope you guys enjoy, and we're on to the next one.